Hey y'all, I hope everyone's doing great. This video will be a 3-part guide to Ironbreaker, a full guide for 6-man, for warband, and for solo roaming, in that order. Timestamps will be in the description below if you want to skip to what is most important to you. So let's kick it off with 6-man, which in my opinion is where Ironbreaker shines. First, let's start covering the left tree. You want to pick up Great Axe Mastery, Cave In for the knockdown, and Ancestor's Fury for the crit and strength. Moving over to the far right tree, we pick up Told You So. This will be the best AP pump your team will have, along with Earth Shatter, which is both an amazing AoE snare and a very high damage AoE. Tactics will be Sweet Revenge for the crit chance. It will be Told You So for the AP pump, Great Axe Mastery for the parry and damage, and Dwarven Riposte as your main grudge builder. Renown is also pretty simple. You go 6 into Might. You pick up Quick Escape, 15 into Feudal Strikes, 6 into Deaf Defender, and max out Reflexes for the parry. Gear in a 6-man can vary greatly, but what I recommend is if you're still gearing up, try to get full Bloodlord. It's pretty simple, and it's really good for a 6-man Ironbreaker. But preferably, if you are geared, what I like to run personally is 5-piece Offsov and 3-piece Warlord, being the chest, boots, and cloak. You will use the Fortress weapon in most scenarios because of the heal debuff. Triumph Jewel and Offsov Jewel with the parry Jewel slotted into it. And the other 2 jewels will be either Flesh Render or Ruby Annulus Rings. And that will be your BIS for 6-man. Next up, we have Warband, which you will always be sword and board for. In my opinion, at least one Ironbreaker is always mandatory in a warband, and I'll explain why after I list the spec. So, starting off in Path of Stone, you pick up Shield Mastery, Avenging the Debt, Oathbound, and Furious Reprisal. Moving over to Path of Brotherhood, you will pick up Told You So for the AP pump and Earth Shatter for the amazing AoE snare. So the reason I say one Ironbreaker is always mandatory is because you will always want Oathbound on the raid leader. Because in the spec, you pick up Avenging the Debt, allowing your raid leader to always escape snares and roots, as well as Oathbound permanently buffing their parry by another 20%. Keeping your raid leader alive is one of the best things a good tank can do, and you don't even need to be in their party to do it. Next up is Tactics, which are Seasoned Veteran, Shield Mastery, Furious Reprisal, and Told You So. Morales will be either Champ's Challenge, Rock Clutch, Shield Wall, Distracting Bellow, and Immaculate Defense. The gear is pretty simple. Again, in my opinion, if you can get away with it, full Bloodlord and save up for your Sovereign gear because you need a fuck ton of crest for full Sov. Your BIS will be full main Sovereign, the Fortress weapon, and an Anathema shield, in my opinion. You'll use 2 Genesis jewels, a Sov jewel, and a Triumphant jewel, with a block jewel inside of the Triumphant. That will do it for the Warband guide. Last up, we have solo builds. I'll cover sword and board first, which I consider vastly better, but personally don't use it because I prefer higher damage two-hander builds.
I got this build from Gilgam. He does the best on solo roaming Ironbreaker. Whether you like his build or not, you can't really deny that. Well, he doesn't die. So let's go over his armor first. He runs 2 Unstoppable Sovereign with weapon skill tallies being the head and shoulders. The rest is Warlord, Victorious War Clasp, and Warlord Chain with the Victorious Belt. He then runs the Fortress Weapon and Fortress Shield, and Regen Pocket Item and AP Pocket Item. He also runs the Regen and the Victorious Jewel. Again, thank you to Gilgam for letting me use your build for a guide. Moving over to uh, Career Builder, he picks up Oathstone for the guarantee block, Shield Mastery for more block, and sorry, got a call. Picks up Shield Mastery for the block, Avenging the Debt, and Oathstone for the parry. Moving over to Path of Brotherhood, he picks up Earth Shatter for the AoE snare, Punishing Knock for the heal debuff, and Runic Shield for the absorb. Your tactics will be Punishing Knock, Shield Mastery, Dwarven Riposte, and Seasoned Veteran. Your morales will be Demolishing Strike, Skin of Iron, Gromroll Plating, and Immaculate Defense. The way this build works is pretty simple. Your goal is to simply out-survive your enemy while whittling them down with double armor debuffs from morale and the ability Stonebreaker. That'll cover the sword and board version, and now I'll do the two-hander version that I personally use. For the two-handed spec, the spec that I prefer to play, you will go 11 into Path of Vengeance, picking up Great Axe Mastery, and you'll also pick up Cave In for the knockdown. Moving over to the Path of Stone, you will pick up Oathbound for the parry, and then moving over to Path of Brotherhood, you will pick up Earth Shatter. The channel in Path of Vengeance is not worth sacrificing either 20% parry or Earth Shatter for, in my opinion. The tactics will be Sweet Revenge, Dwarven Riposte, Relentless Training, and Great Axe Mastery. Morels will always be Rock Clutch for the Gap Closer and Burst, Skin of Iron, Gromroll Plating, and Immaculate Defense. The Renown is pretty simple as well. You'll go 6 into Might. You'll grab a Quick Escape, Reflexes, Deft Defender, and Feudal Strikes, both to 3. But you always grab Quick Escape on an Ironbreaker, no matter what, because your Fortress weapon does not have a speed boost on it like other tanks do. So that brings us to gear, which is last. I personally like to run 3 Warlord pieces, being the chest, cloak, and boots, and then off-salve everything else with all strength talismans. I also run the Triumphant Ring and 2 Ruby Annulus Rings for the crit chance. In the Triumphant Ring, slot a parry talisman. And that will do it for the Ironbreaker guide. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you guys for watching, and have a great day. See ya.